Thomas Wake and Ephraim Winslow are tasked with maintaining the lighthouse for 4 weeks. As the days pass, the two men begin to experience strange occurrences, and their mental states start to deteriorate. The isolation and monotony of their work, coupled with the intense stormy weather and the mysterious lighthouse, begin to take a toll on their sanity. The tension between the two men escalates as they struggle to maintain their grip on reality, leading to a series of frightening and surreal events. Hey guys! Welcome to our channel, Mystery Recaps. Today, we will recap a 2019 horror drama movie named The Lighthouse. To know what happens later, keep on watching the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The movie The Lighthouse begins with an unsettling scene as a ship rushes towards the lighthouse on a remote New England island. The new lighthouse keeper, Ephraim Winslow, arrives and begins moving his belongings, along with some other people who soon leave on the ship that brought them. Winslow has taken a contract job as a lighthouse keeper for a month, under the supervision of the island's longtime keeper, Thomas Wake. As Winslow settles into his quarters, he makes a surprising discovery. In the hole of his mattress, he finds a small scrimshaw of a mermaid, which he keeps in his jacket. At dinner with Wake, the latter makes a strange toast that Winslow declines, causing Wake to become demanding and assign Winslow tons of work from night to morning. One night, as Wake watches the lantern, Winslow goes for a walk near the beach and begins to hallucinate about logs floating in the water. The next morning, Winslow finds the lantern has run out of oil, so he sets out to complete the long list of chores. While fixing the roof, Winslow witnesses Wake in a perverted act, but acts like he didn't see anything. Winslow then carries a whole barrel of oil to the top of the lighthouse, where Wake intercepts him and hands him a smaller vessel. Wake instructs Winslow to get the barrel down, or else risk burning down the whole lighthouse. Wake has locked the cupola of the lighthouse, granting himself sole access to the lantern. He becomes increasingly protective and crazily tries to prevent anyone else from accessing it, as he becomes somewhat intimately attracted to the light. As they sat by the fireplace, Wake once again made a strange and unusual toast, in an attempt to learn more about the previous keeper. Winslow asked about the previous keeper's fate. Wake, with a hint of sadness in his voice, told Winslow that the previous keeper had gone mad and died. Winslow listened intently as Wake spoke of the previous keeper's obsession with mermaids and merfolk, and how he believed that the light of the lantern held some sort of enchantment. Winslow chuckled at the tall tales, but Wake was deadly serious. He warned Winslow not to kill the seabird, as it was believed to bring bad luck, just as the previous keeper's stories had warned. Winslow laughed at this remark, but Wake was not amused. He threw a punch at Winslow, startling him. What do you think? Is Wake right about the seabirds? Let us know in the comments section. That night, Winslow stepped outside for some fresh air and stumbled upon a disrobed Wake in front of the lighthouse. The next morning, Wake was furious with Winslow, accusing him of neglecting his duties. He demanded that Winslow wipe and scrub the floor, even though Winslow insisted that he had already done so. Winslow was stressed from the overwork and told Wake that he did not come to the lighthouse to become a housewife. This enrages Wake, who shouted that Winslow must do as he was told, or his wages would be cut. Winslow carried the coals in the rain and remained quiet during dinner. He was then given the task to whitewash the tower, with Wake promising that a good job would reflect well on his work record. However, as Wake swiftly lowered Winslow down the tower, the rope snapped, and Winslow fell heavily to the ground. The seabird troubled the injured Winslow, but he chased it away. Back at the house, Winslow saw Wake making an entry into the work log, which he then looked inside his writing desk. During dinner, Winslow insisted that Wake call him by his name, as Wake kept calling him dog or lad. Winslow asked about Wake's hometown, and Wake disclosed that he was from Canada and used to be a timberman. Winslow revealed that he was seeking a new arrangement that would allow him to save money. Winslow then asked about Wake's personal life, such as his marriage. Wake, in turn, asked about Winslow's hometown and religious beliefs. Winslow disclosed that he was from Canada and used to be a timberman, but he was not a praying man. He simply feared God. In response to Winslow's question about why killing seabirds was considered bad luck, Wake told him that the souls of sailors were believed to reside inside the birds. As he explored the lighthouse, he discovered a dead gull in the water tank, and as he was examining it, a one-eyed seabird suddenly attacked him. In a fit of anger, Winslow violently smashed the bird. As he was catching his breath, he noticed that the wind had suddenly changed direction. Winslow and his fellow lighthouse keeper, Wake, got drunk that night as Winslow was about to leave tomorrow, and both passed out near the fireplace. The next day, a heavy storm hit the island, causing further delay for the relief ferry that was supposed to arrive to pick Winslow up. As Winslow continued with his duties, he suddenly noticed a body that had been washed up on the shore. As he approached, he found a mermaid lying on the rocks, and when he touched her intimately, she woke up laughing and staring at Winslow hysterically. Winslow was torn between informing Wake and leaving the mermaid be, but he was scolded by Wake for not getting back to work. The storm continued to worsen, delaying the arrival of the relief ferry and causing the rations to spoil. Winslow and Wake tried to find any food that was left, but most of it had rotted due to the moisture. Wake led Winslow outside near the lighthouse where they retrieved some bottles of alcohol. As they allocated the ration, Winslow silently stole a knife. That night, Winslow and Wake had some drinks and started arguing about the food. Wake cursed at Winslow until he took about the criticism of his cooking. Winslow became determined to see what lay in the cupola, so he tried to steal the keys while Wake was asleep, but failed. Nonetheless, Winslow had no trouble from him, as he didn't let Wake know his intentions. What do you think? What is in the cupola? Let us know in the comments section. Winslow started drinking heavily and had intimate hallucinations about the washed-up mermaid. Later, as Winslow was pulling the lobster trap, he came across what appeared to be the head of Wake's former lighthouse keeper. The drinking continued as Winslow and Wake got into a drunken fight, and Winslow admitted his true identity as Thomas Howard and that he had used the alias of Ephraim Winslow. He also confessed to being responsible for the death of the real Ephraim Winslow, his foreman at the timber work. Winslow continued to hallucinate and decided to run away. Wake pursued him and accused him of spilling his secrets. The chase led to Wake catching up with Winslow and smashing their only dory with an axe. Wake chased Winslow into the house and threatened to report him to the inspector. Winslow claimed to know what Wake had done to his second keeper, but Wake completely dismissed the fact. In the end, Winslow handed over the knife to Wake and followed him like a brainwashed, submissive person. The storm continued to rage on the island, leaving Winslow and Wake trapped in the lighthouse with no escape. The tension between the two men mounted as they struggled to survive the harsh conditions and their own demons. Days passed by, and Winslow and Wake struggled to survive in the lighthouse, relying on a strange honey concoction for sustenance. One day, Winslow stumbled upon Wake's work log floating in the flooded house. As he delved into the pages, he realized that Wake had been lying about his performance the entire time. The log portrayed Winslow as a drunk and incompetent man, which incensed him. He confronted Wake and demanded an explanation for why he wrote such a negative review, especially after Winslow had worked so hard. Winslow claimed that he worked as hard as any man, but Wake insisted that he was not working hard enough. Wake accused Winslow of being responsible for the change in the winds that led to the sea's rage and the death of a seabird. He also kept records of Winslow's perverted actions in the supply chain. Wake's insult only fueled Winslow's anger, and the two men got into a physical altercation. During the fight, Winslow experienced disoriented visions of his deceased co-worker and a mermaid. He hallucinated that Wake was a Proteus-like figure, with tentacles wrapping around his neck, and he nearly killed him. Winslow took out his anger on Wake, calling him names and ordering him to bark like a dog. He even attempted to bury Wake alive. As the fight came to a close, Winslow took the keys from Wake's pocket and made his way towards the house. However, Wake rushed towards him with an axe, and the two men engaged in a fierce struggle. In the end, Winslow overpowered Wake and smashed his face with the axe. He then made his way to the roof of the lighthouse and was blinded by the light of the spiraling Fresnel. Excited, Winslow put his hand inside the Fresnel, screaming hysterically. However, he soon became horrified and fell down the stairs of the lighthouse. The movie ends with a screen showing Winslow still alive, being ripped apart by the seabird while lying on the shore. The narrator reflects that there are so many stories in the corners of Rome, and this is just one of them. So guys, that's it for today. Check out this video on the screen to watch this amazing movie recap. Also, be sure you hit that subscribe button and bell icon to never miss any exciting movie recaps.